on.
Yes, my honeymoon bored me. Isn't I unnatural?
You?
Bored.
I'm secretly delighted, of course, but you just can't have been bored for the entire 6 months.
Have you any idea what it's like to not meet a single other person you could hold a conversation with in that entire time?
None.
Or the purgatory, spending the same 24 hours of every single day with the same person?
Hell. Forgive me. George is an upright and thoroughly decent man. I have considerable respect for George Tessman, and a worthy academic, I'm sure.
Considerable. You practice your little cruelties very skillfully.
Well, that goes with the job, but Hedda, you did marry the man.
Yes, who could resist, 10th century Holland, cottage industries in East Belgium. Yes, I married the man. Is it altogether bizarre?
Well, no, you did marry him, but yeah, there was a time when we all thought that George would be a very great academic star. We all believed that.
That's not why I married him. That didn't interest me. I married him because I had danced myself to a standstill. Because, may I be melodramatic, Judge? Because I had an instinct that things had come to an end for me, that it had all played out. So, in panic, desperation, maybe, I latched on to what was stable and dependable.
Oh, stable and dependable, George Tessman.
By God, he is. And he's not at all ridiculous.
Oh, what a strange word to use, Hedda. No. I wouldn't say ridiculous.
And anchor, that.
Oh, yes, an anchor.
And since he so genuinely wanted to take care of me, why wouldn't I allow him to? It's not what my other men friends have in mind.
Oh, I'm sure we all cared very deeply for you, Hedda.
Caring for me was ever uppermost in your mind, Judge.
Constantly. But I didn't ask more from life than to have a small group of people I could trust, who I could care for, and who I could help when help was needed, and into whose houses I could come and go as freely as I wish, as a friend.
Of the husband.
Wife, preferably. But don't misunderstand. My respect for the institution of marriage borders on the sacred.
Judge.
In theory.
You are a scam, Judge Brack.
Me?
A rogue.
Am I?
A smooth scoundrel.
Never.
And maybe even malevolent at heart.
Oh, humiliate me. Enjoy your little jape. Okay, well, I will admit to one small vice. A vice is a judgmental word. A little weakness. A minor delinquency. Yes, indeed, some find it a fetching weakness.
Confess.
Well, I must have the companionship and consolations of women very regularly. It's the most pressing exigency. It's really the only passion of my youth that has stayed faithful to me, thank heavens. Yes, I do think that this domestic triangle arrangement could be enriching for all of us. Answer me truthfully. Well, you were on that interminable train journey through Austria. Those dreadful forests, dreadful food, those dreadful people, and those execrable peasant costumes that they don't exhibit themselves in. Wouldn't you have bartered something you really cherished for a little naughty prattle, soothsong of salacious gossip?
I would have bartered everything.
Well then, my dear Mrs. Tessman, the honeymoon is over.
But it isn't, the train has only stopped at a station.
Well, jump off and stretch your legs.
I am not exactly the jumping sort.
Oh, in the dark vault of their hearts, all women are jumpers.
Too cautious to jump. There's always somebody spying on them, carrying stories back. So I'll just stay in the cabin, just chatting.
Oh, not at all safe and altogether miserable.
Too frightened to jump, terrified of scandal.
I'll suppose a friend, a trusted friend, one of a small group, were to join you in the compartment.
That would be very different.
A desperately weak man.
But affection weakness.
Totally unsafe and exceedingly naughty.
Yes, that would be very different.
That would interest you.
No jumping expected?
No jumping, no melodrama, and certainly no pistols.
Then yes, Judge, that would certainly well be attractive.
Well, then I do believe the triangle is complete, dear Hedda. And completion is a certain satisfaction in itself, isn't it?
And the train moves on.
It's very hot up there in these things weigh a ton. Oh, Judge Brack, you're here. Why didn't Bertha come and tell me?
Came in the back way.
Well, I'm not late, am I?
Oh no, I'm early.
I have time to freshen up then. I'm sweating like a bees all over town.
What have you got?
New publications that appeared while our backs were turned. Sneaked in, you could say. A heap of academic journals, lectures, monographs, and essays.
All to do with your special subject.
Be away for even a short amount of time, and they all seem to plot behind your back.
You must have a surfeit of that stuff.
All very vital if you want to stay on top. But look, Hedda, I stopped by the bookstore this afternoon. Got Eilert Lovborg's new book. Would you like to read it?
Not now. Later.
What is your verdict, Testament, as an expert yourself?
It's a remarkable accomplishment. It's balanced, well organized, and persuasively written. But what's really interesting is it's told in this light and clean style, which is altogether new for Lovborg.
Gee whiz, as the Americans had it.
Full of surprises, our Eilert, isn't he?
Light and clean, part of his deliverance, perhaps.
He is an astonishing creature. I'm going to go freshen up. We don't have to dash off just now, do we?
No hurry.
Oh, by the way, Hedda, Auntie Juju said she won't be coming by this evening anymore.
Still sullen about that bonnet business.
No. Well, how could you think that, Hedda? I'm afraid it's lovely Auntie Rena. She's still very ill.
She usually is.
Yes, but things seem to have taken quite a serious turn.
Well, then of course the other one must go with her. I'll just have to make do without her then.
She sent her love, of course. Oh, she was so pleased to see how nicely you've been filling out.
Was she?
Yes. Auntie Juju has been checking Hedda for telltale symptoms of, well, you know, the usual signs. All that little bit of innocence mixed with a bit of daring.
Interfering bitch.
Temper, Miss Hedda. What is this bonnet business?
Oh, yes, Auntie Juju left her new bonnet on the piano. I pretended I thought it was the maid's.
Oh, so you practice little cruelties of your own.
Oh, yes, and more frequently, and with more relish. Should that concern me, Judge?
Oh, no, a pinch of malevolence gives life an interesting tact.
It's as if a dark impulse takes over me. It's as if I'm completely taken over. They call it possession in the Bible, don't they?
I wouldn't know.
Sometimes it's just a capricious impulse, or Auntie Juju only got a tiny scratch, but it's becoming bitter and cruel. When it takes over me, I'm not at all responsible for what I say or do. It's a sort of joyless freedom. Afterwards, of course, I loathe myself. Should that frighten me, Judge?
Oh, I find that most women can be a little capricious.
You are playing with me, Judge Brown.
Sorry.
And when it takes over me, I find that I even seek out my quarry, and the most vulnerable prey, the one that I'm most fearful of hurting. This may surprise you, Judge, but the one that I am most fearful of damaging is George.
But George the actor, decent George Testament. No, I wouldn't be concerned for George. That kind of simple decency has an immunity of its own. But what can I say to you? It's probably a passing mood. Marriage would be traumatic for a woman of such fiercely independent spirit. Try to focus on the good things, the happy things around you.
What are all of the good, happy things around me?
Well, you have a beautiful home and a house that you set your heart on.
That kind of fiction is harder than that.
But you didn't want this house?
What happened was this. George used to walk me home from dances.
Joey, my house lay at the opposite direction. Pity.
Oh, yes, your interests lay in the opposite direction too, Judge.
Saucy. Anyhow.
One evening, George and I were walking by this place, and he had run out of things to talk about. He literally could not speak. He had nothing more to say. So, to put him out of his misery, I pointed up to this place, and off the top of my head, I said there was nowhere else in the whole wide world I would rather live than here.
And
one of those capricious impulses.
And that was it.
The fantasy was born.
So you don't give a curse about this place.
Not a single curse. It reeks of dried lavender and dead flowers. It's like a funeral parlor.
And after all the work we did to bedizen it for you, part of your trouble, young lady, is that you don't have anything to think about except yourself. What you need to do is take up something that will engage you fully. Have you any interest in painting?
Oh, clever, Judge Brown. The judge means a hobby. No, painting doesn't interest me, but what about the Turkish craft of macrame? Or beekeeping, perhaps? Or collecting miniature leaden soldiers. Surely that would interest a general's daughter.
We will be bored if we continue to brood over our own little restricted lives. Try to think outside yourself, beyond these confines.
Oh, he is so wise. We are bound to implode if we don't see that perfect petunia out there, or the chaste moon peeking out behind the cover of clouds, or baby smile when he hears his mummy's voice.
Well, it is possible that a certain very happy event may alter the whole tenor of your life here.
You mean the professorship? That doesn't interest me in the slightest.
Oh, I mean that you may find yourself being handed, as most young brides do, the wonderful and exciting responsibility.
Oh, Judge Brack has joined the Koi Brigade. Oh, isn't she filling out nicely? By God, the man is actually smirking.
Well, it is more than likely.
Never. Do you hear me? Never. I'd rather collect miniature leaden soldiers any day. Never. Ah, the professor.
No sign of Loveborg yet.
No.
I should be here very soon.
If he's coming.
Oh, he's coming, all right. By the way, Judge, what you said to me earlier is all gossip. Auntie Juju assured me that he wouldn't dare block my promotion.
All right, well then everything is hunky-dory.
We don't have to dash off to the party just now.
Oh no, we don't have to go. No hurry, no one will show up before 7 or 7:30.
Don't wait around my account. I'll have Mr. Loveborg and Mrs. Elvsted to keep you company.
Mrs.
Addicted to her anxieties, Taya.
Ah.
Yes, we'll chatter and laugh and drink strong Darjeeling tea.
Oh, the tea. Tea is very sensible. Mr. Lufborg might be advised to avoid my domicile.
Why would he?
Well, haven't you always averred, Hedda, that only men of strong iron discipline and heroic virtue should be allowed into my parties?
Then Loveborg qualifies on both accounts.
Has he?
Say, Judge, remember?
Oh, good God, yes, indeed. You said that.
There's a gentleman here to see you, Mrs. Tessman.
Loveborg, you see?
Show him in.
Does he have a halo?
Careful.
Halos make me queasy.
Careful.
Oh, I just knew that he'd come. All gossip, Judge. Oh, Iris, welcome after all these years.
Thank you for your warm letter,
Of course.
Mrs. Tesman.
You're most welcome.
I haven't seen you both since your big day. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know Judge Brack.
We've met.
Yes, it has been some time.
And you're moving back into town, Eilert. Oh, excellent. You must feel free to come and go from our home as freely as you wish.
He'll have his own place.
And I stopped at the bookstore earlier, and I got your new book. Well done.
Oh, don't bother with that. It's nothing serious.
Come on, Eilert.
I mean that. It's potboiler stuff.
Oh, it's a big success, as you know.
Well, that is exactly what I set out to write. A welcoming book. No demands, whatever.
Well, you've certainly succeeded. It's a huge success. I'm all for Jumbo.
Well, I just wanted to get my name back up there again.
No, don't we all want to be embraced? Nobody more than us lonely judges.
Don't listen to that, Eilert. I dipped into your book today, and I got the book for something that was very engaging.
Bogus all the same.
Don't be so stern with yourself. The public isn't nearly as austere as you.
But I do know, Mrs. Tesman. Now, this is my real book.
Not another new book.
Yes, the real thing. The genuine article, the authentic thing. This is my important book. At least, it's not as easy to see through this one.
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations indeed, Eilert.
You're such a feckin' young man. 2 books, back to back. As we like to say, jeepers creepers.
What's this one about?
It's a sequel
To what?
to the last one, the one that's just out.
But isn't that one just out? I mean, surely that takes us up to the present.
This one goes beyond that.
What do you mean, Eilert?
This one reaches into the future.
So it's speculative, like a kind of divination.
Not really. The book is made up of 2 parts. The first part analyzes the role and the power of the arts in our society today.
But this isn't your handwriting, is it?
Oh, I dictated it.
Ah.
And the second part, the core of the book, it looks at the way that this society would develop under these artistic pressures.
Well done, Eilert. This is astonishing. I don't think I could ever tackle anything on this scale.
I thought I might read a few pages to you tonight, just to give you a taste, perhaps.
Oh, that would be great. But tonight I'm afraid we have plans.
Oh, of course.
No, we're having a small dinner party at my
No,
place.
it doesn't
No, to celebrate the groom's return.
Lovely.
Yes, would you like to join us?
No, I'm afraid I can't do that.
Just a gathering of friends anticipating a few simple pleasures. It's nothing beyond that.
Maybe another time.
It's not, as Mrs. Tessman insists, a group that's hell-bent on debauchery.
No, some other time, Judge, thank you.
Well, you could read your manuscript to George at my place.
Oh, that is a very good idea.
It's a big house, plenty of room.
Come on, Tyler, what do you say?
He said he doesn't want to go, George. He'll have a simple supper with me and Mrs. Elstead. Is that all right?
Yes, I'd love that, thank you. Mrs. Elfstead is coming here. I ran into her this afternoon.
Yes, the three of us will have a miniature debauch here.
And I heard today at the bookstore that you're to start a series of readings from your new book.
Yes, in the autumn. That's the plan.
Oh, that'll be a very successful tour.
Yes, except excerpt from Jumbo.
Sorry?
Oh, you don't mind, do you?
No, why should I mind?
I won't be cutting across your plans in any way.
I mean, I can't very well expect you to
If you'd like, I can wait until after you've been appointed professor.
But we're competing against one another, aren't we?
No, you take the professorship. I have no interest in it.
What are you saying, Heinrich?
I'm saying that I've withdrawn my name.
You no longer mean to apply?
No, I'm very serious. I will be happy with a succès d'estime.
Promise. Oh, Auntie Juju was right, Hedda. Oh, and Lovework isn't going to stand in our way.
Our way. What has it to do with me?
There you are, Judge. Withdrawn, you see?
Congratulations, sir.
Oh, I'm struck dumb.
Yes, well, of course you're happy. Congratulations, of course you're pleased.
I am. Yes, I am. Thank you so much. What a kind of
Are you all right?
I'm just flabbergasted.
Yes, my goodness. In our small group, Ms. Hedda, the success of one is the success of all.
I've cold punch. Anyone for a drink?
Oh, splendid, Professor.
My God, yes. Indeed, yes.
Mr. Lovework.
Oh, nothing for me, thank you.
Then I'll entertain Mr. Lovework here.
Yes, you do that, Hedda. Tyler Lovework is a major artist and a very, very great man.
Could you ignore this? Holiday photographs, I know, short door.
I would love to see them.
Honeymoon found photographs, the ultimate boredom. They're mostly of the Tyrol. You've never been there. There's exciting people, exciting food, exciting places, and the most magnificent peasant costumes. And you see here, these are the Ortler Mountains. See, George has written the name ever so nicely underneath each photo. O-R-T-L.
Hedda Gabler. Hedda Gabler.
That is not my name.
Can I never say Hedda Gabler again?
Hedda Gabler is not my name.
Oh, yes, that's right. You're Mrs. Tesman now, Hedda Tesman. For God's sake, Hedda, how could you?
Be quiet at once. And this is the Impezzo Valley. You see this hazy mountain range here? George, what's the name of that mountain?
Let me see.
You're slipping. There's no neat writing underneath the photograph.
Oh, the Dolomites, dear.
Yes, the Dolomites.
Would you like a glass of punch, Hedda?
Yes, please. And some condiments.
A cigarette?
No, not now, thank you.
Certainly, madam.
For God's sake, how could you, Hedda?
And these are the Dolomites from the other side.
Answer me, Hedda.
If you keep calling me Hedda, I won't speak to you any longer.
Not even when we're alone?
Think it if you like, but don't say it.
Because you love George Tesman.
Now you're being ridiculous.
Well, you do love him, don't you?
I will not be unfaithful, is that understood?
Then answer me this, Hedda. Why is it that...
Not only is he a doctor and a professor now of great distinction, but he's also a waiter of grace and skill. Madam,
Bertha would have done.
oh, it pleases me to serve you.
Why are there two glasses? Mr. Loveborg isn't drinking.
One for you, and one for Miss Elfston.
Ah, yes, just place them on the table.
Hedda, did you forget about the woman who was dedicated to her anxieties already? That's one of the judge's little drolleries.
I can't read your writing, George. But what's the name of this little village?
Show me. Oh, yes, it's called... It was at the foot of the Brenner Pass. I can't read it either. It's called... Gone. We spent the night there, do you remember?
Yes, and those 3 engineers who attached themselves to us all evening.
How could I forget the 3 Spaniards? They couldn't take their eyes off of her all night.
Nonsense.
You should have been there, Eilert.
For God's sake, Hedda, how could you?
He was wrong, there's how.
Answer me this one thing, Hedda. You did love me, didn't you? At least a little, at least a passing flutter.
Did I? I don't know. We were good friends, I can't tell you that. You told me all of these secrets. You never held anything back. Maybe that created the illusion of love.
You had to hear everything.
Of course. And at the same time, I thought, how courageous of him to be so open. Have you any idea how thrilling that all was for me?
Well, we sat on the sofa in the drawing room. The general, with his back turned to us, over at the window, reading the newspaper, remember? And we pretended to be engrossed in the magazine, always the same one.
We had to have a fascinating honeymoon hour.
And I told you things about myself. Things nobody in the world had ever heard. Tales of months lost in an alcoholic fog. Weeks of willful degradation. Crude, debauched, driven nights. You burrowed into me. You were able to winkle out even the most minute details as if you had some power over me.
Hedda.
And those sly questions of yours, never direct, always oblique.
And you were always so willing to answer.
Of course I was. But when you kept burrowing, insisting on more and more and more and more detail, I sometimes thought, I used to wonder, how could such a young and sheltered girl, a green child, really, how can she be so without shame?
It was my recollection, Mr. Loveworld, that you were quite willing to provide every exact detail.
We seem to be altogether alone in the world, isolated in a kind of hothouse intimacy. But there must have been a kind of love in that, wasn't there? Because when I confessed everything to you, didn't you just want to take me in your arms and absolve me and wash me clean? There must have been a kind of love in that, wasn't there?
Nothing at all to do with love.
Then why the relentless interrogation? Why the ravenous burrowing? Why?
I was a young girl, an only child, yes, a green child. I lived with a widowed father in drafty quarters in the center of an empty army barracks. I had no friends, no relations, no companions, and on the other side of that barracks wall, I knew that people were living full, joyous, and exciting lives. And because those lives were so far beyond my reach, I had to have them. And you were my tutor out there because you had experienced everything in such great extreme. You had me experience everything through you, my surrogate out there. Everything was so ravenous to hear that no green girl ought to hear, that no one knew I was hearing. I heard all through you, my mentor out there. You were my tutor in all of the delights and excesses and squalors I might never have known. Blushing secrecy, absolute safety.
But we were such friends, Hedda. That friendship should have survived.
And that was your fault.
You broke it off.
Because you wanted to move it to a different plane. I was not shameless, Eilert. Without shame required audacity. So I convinced myself that hothouse intimacy was sufficient enough for me. And your new ideas, your new demands, they terrified me.
Then why didn't you shoot me when you had the chance? Your father's pistol was still on the table.
Cowardice.
Yes, you are a coward.
Terrified of scandal.
Maybe surrogate living is all you're capable of.
So you moved up to the Trondheim area with the Elvsteds and soldiers.
I can imagine what Taya has told you.
Nothing at all. Did you tell Taya about you and I?
She wouldn't understand. I mean, she's a fool.
Taya is not a fool.
Well, foolish about complex things like that.
I have something I need to tell you, Eilert. Not picking up my father's pistols, not my greatest act of cowardice that night. A leap that you had to be made. It was time for it. It was a huge leap for me. I can't tell you how much I wanted to take it. So much, but I couldn't gather the courage to make that leap with you.
Yes, I knew that then. You had a surfeit of my reports of a mediated life, and you wanted immediate life. Yes, I didn't know that then. It's true now too.
Careful, that is enough. That's enough, too much. Taya, so very, very good to see you again.
Shouldn't I say a word to Mr. Tesman?
No, they are fine as they are. Anyway, they'll be leaving us soon.
Where are they going?
Oh, out on the town, or to use one of Judge Brack's Americanisms, wherever does he get them? Out on the razzle-dazzle.
Not you, Eilert.
Oh, no, he'll be staying with us prudently. I'm so relaxed, so happy to be here. No, not there, Taya, darling. Here, I must be in the center of things, mustn't I?
As you wish, Hedda.
Isn't she lovely to look at?
Just to consider.
Just to contemplate. We are soulmates, Taya and I. We can sit and talk for hours with complete openness.
No obliquity?
I've got to tell Hedda what you say.
Say about what?
Well,
He says that I inspire him.
oh my goodness. And do you? Does she?
She's a very courageous woman.
Not really.
Well, when it comes to helping her soulmate, to battling on his behalf, she is altogether without fear.
Oh, how I envy you that courage. I had that courage, maybe I could manage the business of life. Maybe. Now, okay, a glass of cold punch.
Not for me, thanks. I never touch alcohol.
Mr. Loveful.
Nothing for me either.
He's fine, Hedda.
We're a pair of children.
But what if I wanted you to?
Why would that make a difference?
So I have no power over you at all.
Well, not in this matter.
Well, I think you should.
Hedda.
For your own sake.
Well, I don't know what that means.
And to perplex people. Who might believe that you're not quite as sure as you appear, that you are quite irresolute.
Oh, Hedda, no.
And to confound them.
Well, I've already said I want to stay here and talk to you.
Right, who cares about that?
I saw it in the judge just now, how scornful he was when you were afraid to take a drink.
Well, again, I was here and I would like to be with you.
Only cold punch, man, not poison. And when you didn't dare go to that party.
When I didn't dare?
Oh, yes, that is what a shrewd judge thought.
Well, who cares what he thinks?
So, you're not going to go.
Haven't I already said? I'm staying here with you and Taya.
Good.
What has gotten into you?
What do you mean by that?
What? I was offered to go to a dinner party. I said no. I was offered a glass of cold port. I said no. Could I be any more explicit?
You are a man of iron discipline, altogether admirable. Taya tells us you're impeccable.
Hedda, what are you...
And she's right. The impeccable Eilers that I once knew belongs to the past. And that's what I tried to tell her this morning, but there was nothing I could do to convince her that you weren't already off on the razzle-dazzle. And as Eilert says, you are a very silly woman.
Eilert, you two are talking about me.
Just consider, Taya, is that a man on the verge of collapsing again? You aren't still anxious for him, are you?
Hedda, dear God, Hedda, what are you
Try and keep your voice down with awful judges.
Something has got into you. Anxious for me, were you? And in panic. Well, your great belief in me is moving.
Oh my God,
To your faith in me.
this is what you wanted to happen.
And to Mrs. Tesman and her ugly manipulation.
That's enough. You have a party together.
He's not going to that, Hedda.
Tell me
Careful,
truthfully, Taya, did your husband know you followed me up here?
Hedda.
Was it agreed between you and the resident magistrate that you would come spy on me? He wasn't actually genuinely concerned for the well-being of his children's tutor, was he? Did he just want me back up to make his card school? Well, to the resident magistrate and his obedient wife.
I said that's enough. You said you'd read your book to George.
Well, you're so right. Taya, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Please, pardon your soulmate. I will be just fine. I promise. Remember, you have saved me. We both know that I will be just fine. I promise you.
I know you will. I trust you told me.
Well, it is time for us to leave, Mrs. Tessman.
So soon.
Dionysus is getting impatient.
Count me in.
Eilert, Eilert, not
Get
going.
hold of yourself.
You know you may be exposing yourself to a minor misconduct.
May I please?
I did confess my unease about the St. Paul canard, didn't I?
Judge Brack.
Yes, not converted, concussed by the fall from his horse.
Gentlemen, a few chapters from the manuscript before it goes off to the publisher.
Oh, that would be great. Hold on. How is Miss Elfstead to get home tonight?
Oh, I will see Mrs. Elmstead home. Who else?
Yes.
10 o'clock, Mrs. Tesman. Does that suit you?
Perfect.
Oh, I'm afraid I may not be back by 10 o'clock, Hedda. What do you think, Judge?
Well, AM or PM? Well, that depends on how successful we are at razzling dazzling. Or is it razzling dazzle? Or razzle dazzling?
Don't rush home on my account.
10 o'clock, I think.
On the dot.
Promise, Island?
Oh, never exact a promise. It's like an oath in court. Nobody trusts it for a second.
What I would give to be a fly on your wall, Judge.
Oh, not advisable. You might see things not at all suitable to a mind of such manifest innocence.
10 o'clock, Hedda.
Please. Oh, what will happen to them, Hedda?
What will happen is that Isla Lovelock will come home when he comes home. With a wreath of fine leaves in his damp hair, gleaming, triumphant, and exuding power.
And he will take care of himself.
He will be master of himself again. He will be a free man again.
I pray to God he's all right.
I don't doubt him. My faith in the real Isla Lovelock is absolute. Which one of us will be proven right?
You're after something, Hedda. What are you after?
For once in my life, I want the power to control the destiny of a man.
But you already have that power. You have yours.
Don't be stupid. Who would want to control that fate? Dear, sweet Tara, do you have any idea how opulent and privileged you are, and how disenfranchised and powerless I am? There is a whiff of expectancy in the atmosphere. Can you smell it? I think I'll set fire to your hair. After all,
Oh, let go of me! You terrify me, Hedda!
I'll leave the tea things in the dining room.
good, we're coming. I'm going home.
Now, Hedda, by myself. I'm sorry, I can't stay. I'm too scared.
Oh, shut up, you fool! First you'll have supper with the terrifying Hedda, and then Isla will come with a crown of vine leaves in his damp hair.
Oh my God, no! What was that?
A girl came by with this letter.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's for Dr. Tessman, ma'am. From his aunt, Miss Juliana. That rough lump of a maid of hers brought it by. I'll leave it here for him. Oh, better put that lamp out. It's beginning to smoke.
It'll be daylight soon.
Oh, it's daylight already, ma'am.
And still no sign of the men.
You might have known. Once they fell in with that certain gentleman, there was bound to be bother. We all know his pedigree.
You'll waken Mrs. Tessman.
Will I put some wood on the stove?
No, thank you. It is quite warm.
What's that?
Bertha the maid.
What time is it?
After 7.
And the men haven't returned.
No, they're not back, Hedda. None of them are back.
We sound like fools.
You slept fine.
I had. And you?
Not a wink.
Not even a dose.
They had a miserable night.
I know, but I know only too well what happened.
You do?
Oh, yes, they had a very, very heavy night.
Did they?
Judges. And George, he couldn't dare show his face back here again, so he went and scampered off to the aunties. I have a room for him.
Oh, he's not there, Hedda. A letter just arrived for him from there.
Yes, it's Auntie Juliana's handwriting. Then he must still be at the judges.
You know very well he's not still at the judge's.
Taya, darling, you look completely washed out.
I am.
Then why don't you just go and lay up in my room? It's the first door on the right up the stairs.
No, I will stay here until George gets back, and he will know what happened to Island.
There's no point sitting and waiting up for them now, is there?
I suppose you're right.
So you'll sleep?
And you'll call me.
Promise.
For a short while then.
shouting, Mrs. Elvstead is up in my bedroom.
She spent the night here?
Yes, none of you gentlemen thought to come pick her up, now did you?
Oh, I know. I really am sorry about that. It did cross my mind once or twice in the evening, but between one thing or another, I lost track.
Well, had you a good time?
Were you worried about me?
I asked, had you a good time?
Yes. I suppose so. It was the usual. Although at one point in the night, the judge did declare that he was too old for making whooping.
And did Island Loveboard behave himself?
Full hour, Eilert Lovborg read to me from his new manuscript. And it was just the two of us alone in the judge's breakfast room. And I was transfixed, had him mesmerized for a full hour.
Well, aren't you going to tell me about it?
It's just amazing. Eilert Lovborg has written an amazing book. I don't know what else to say. Utterly amazing.
So Eilert Lovborg's book amazed you?
It may be the most remarkable book I've ever read. I can't think of anything else that had such a profound impact on me.
Oh my goodness.
I must confess, as I was listening to him read, a strange feeling suddenly came over me. And of course I was overawed by the book. I was just astounded by it. But at the same time, a piece of me remained very calm and very analytical. And I suddenly knew that I was jealous of Eilert Lovborg. I thought that's a bit unfair, isn't it? That a man who's so weak and so damaged could be endowed with such enormous talent. I mean, he doesn't value it. He has no real interest in it. I think he may truly be incapable of nurturing and protecting it. It's a bit unfair.
Is it?
Well, it is. Because for all of his genius, he just simply can't cope.
Cope with what? Mediocrity? The second rate?
Just with being alive, I suppose. Maybe just living is beyond him.
Many people have that issue and it doesn't make them damaged. Anyhow, how did the night end?
Sorry to say, the night just disintegrated. It was very Dionysian.
Did he have any vine leaves in his hair?
Eilert? No. No, I don't recall any vine leaves. No, he was wearing a tweed cap. It's a brown tweed cap. I remember him clutching it at his chest as he delivered us this long oration about the splendid woman who inspired him to write his new book.
Say,
Addicted to her anxiety, Hedda, as the judge calls her. I mean, Eilert didn't say her name, but I knew exactly who he was talking about.
drunken lover. Anyhow, how did it all break up?
Oh, dear, I have no idea what time they all broke apart. Judge Brack came with us some of the way from his house to clear his head. Oh, and poor old Lovborg was in bits. We almost had to carry him.
Oh, never.
But then a strange thing happened. Okay, not a strange thing. A funny thing. No, it's not very funny. A tragic thing happened. Okay, no, that's definitely too much. A sad thing? Yes. And then a very, very sad thing happened next.
What happened, George?
Well, I fell in behind the others, right? As I ran to catch up with them, you wouldn't believe what was just lying there. I mean, just lying in the side of the road.
Please.
You mustn't tell Eilert, or anybody for Eilert's sake. You have to promise me that, Hedda.
Promise. Not the amazing new manuscript.
Yes.
The manuscript you read to you for an hour last night.
Yes.
He doesn't know that you have it?
Oh, no.
And you didn't tell anyone that you have it?
No. I mean, I thought that I ought to. The state that Eilert was in, and for his sake, nobody should know.
So nobody saw you?
No. You're not going to find out either. I'm going to take it to him later today once he's sobered up.
How was he when you saw him last?
Eilert? Almost footless in the center of town. But he was determined not to let the night end. And that's when we all broke apart for good. Judge Brack disappeared somewhere. And then a few of us bribed the next watchman to let us try some of his poisoned coffee. And some others took off down the street with Eilert. They said that they were bringing him home. But you know what? They were going in the opposite direction. It's all very messy. Sorry. I'm feeling a little fragile right now. Would you mind if I go lay down for an hour and then I'll bring this to Eilert's?
Let me read it first.
Oh, no, Hedda. You couldn't possibly do that.
Couldn't or dare it.
intrusive? I mean, this is very personal to him, like a diary. Oh, and just imagine the panic he'll be in when he awakes and sees that it's just gone.
He can rewrite it, can't he?
I don't know, Hedda. Something that's as unique and well written as this can only be produced under a great urgency of inspiration. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
I wouldn't know. I'm not a great writer like you people. By the way, a letter.
Oh. Ah, it's from Auntie Juju. You know I love her handwriting. It's so resolute. Oh my god. Oh my god, Auntie Rena's dying.
Weren't you expecting that?
I'll have to go at once if I hope to see her. Of course I do. Of course I will. Oh, poor Auntie Rena. No, I never expected this. Not really, anyway. Come with me, won't you, dear?
No, you can't ask that of me, George.
Hedda, love.
Please, George.
You will not get a chance to see her again.
No, I couldn't look at her. I couldn't see something like that. No, please, George.
I see. I need my coat and my hat. Please those are out in the hall. Do I need gloves? We are into September, aren't we? Oh, I do hope I'll make it in time. Auntie Rena's dying, Bertha.
Oh my God!
Lovely Miss Rena's slipping away.
Oh God, my lovely Miss Rena.
I'm to go at once. I will bring her your love.
Yes, Georgie, oh my love. Mother of God, my lovely Miss Rena.
What is it you want?
What's that?
You want his son.
Judge Brack is here.
What? Oh, what the hell is Judge Bragg doing here at this moment? Hedda, I can't see him now.
I can. Show him in.
I know, thank you. Lovely Miss Rena. I'll go this way.
The manuscript, George?
Oh, you're so right. Bring it to me, would you?
No, why would you bring it to the aunties? I'll take care of it here.
You're absolutely right, of course. Thank you. I'm off then.
I know, an unconscionable hour again. It's becoming a sad little habit. Why can't I discipline myself to stay away?
You just missed George. It's Aunt Rena's dying.
Oh, melancholy tidings. Honorable girls, the Testament ladies. George will be perturbed.
Probably. I hear that last night's party was robust.
Oh, is that the verdict? Verging on the turbulent, I suggest. Yes, I haven't had time to change. That's the telltale. Tell me, did Testman enjoy himself?
What did he say? That Ivan Lovborg declared that his new manuscript was inspired by the anxious tale.
He did, indeed, solemnly.
And that Judge Brack declared that he was too old for making whoopee.
He did indeed, jestingly. Do you know what making whoopee means?
No.
Well, I tell myself it's an American word that means making love. And if it is, I'm not too old at all. In fact, elegant Hedda, I'm only approaching my peak.
And George and two others caged bad copy from the night watch.
Oh, Lukeberg wasn't one of the two?
No, George thought that he'd gone home at that point.
Oh, decent, credulous, trusting George. That's what they wanted him to believe. Have you any idea where Lukeberg and his two friends spent the residue of the night?
Why do I imagine somewhere improper?
No, because you're a very naughty woman, thank heavens. And also right. In fact, I knew that Lukeberg had received an invitation earlier in the day, but had declined because, as we all assumed, he is delivered.
Save, Judge.
Yes, please. In any case, he did resist the invitation valiantly, but until alcohol undermined him, and, well, himself and two others, they ended up at the establishment of a Mademoiselle Serse.
Sips.
Yes, a pseudonym. It's a little flamboyant. But then she is a lady of classical inclinations as well.
A sort of singer-dancer.
Among other accomplishments.
And red hair.
You've heard of her then?
She keeps a revolver in her handbag.
Well, that I wouldn't know. So you and she share a passion for artillery. Yes, well, so anyway, some years ago, she was up before me on some charges or other. In those days, her more decorous name was Mary Bridget O'Donnell. Isla Lufberg was a client of hers back then, too. What was the charge? Cruelty to animals, that's right. Yes, well, surely there is no connection between that and her profession.
So, last night ended badly.
Well, it started off with amity and protestations of affection, but it ended very badly indeed. Eilert accused Circe of larceny. Larceny replied with a smackaroo on the kisser. Smackaroo, thump, kisser.
What has she stolen?
Well, those are both Americanisms. Yes, stolen. A wallet, some coins, some other important possessions, or so he insists. Yes, it's not clear to me why he felt that way.
So there were no vine leaves in his hair.
No, no vine leaves mentioned in the police report, but the police know that he did spend the early part of the evening with me, and that could be very embarrassing.
So he's to be up in court then.
Well, most probably. You could very well get caught up in the embarrassment.
How so?
Well, he is a guest here, and as we talk, his inspiration sleeps upstairs, Bertha tells me. And Mrs. Elvsted is not returning to the resident magistrate in the near future.
There are many places that she and Mr. Leflore can meet.
Oh, no respectable house in this city will welcome them from now on.
Including this respectful house.
Well, I hope so. I'd be quite displeased if Eilert Lufborg were welcome here. Yes, if I were to find out that he was intruding
On the triangle.
yeah, that would be like losing a home.
You want to be the only rooster in the yard.
Yeah, of course. In fact, I will fight it every way I know how to do that, dear Hedda. Every way.
You are a very dangerous man, Judge Bradshaw.
I am not. Am I?
Thank heavens you have no hold over me.
No, not now.
Is that a threat I detect there?
Hedda, for the triangle to flourish, it must be by mutual consent. Compulsion would only poison the benign atmosphere. And now I must depart. And please, do something about the crack in the door to your bedroom. You know how I adore contemplating you.
So, you're going out to the garden gate?
Well, that is shorter, isn't it?
And devious.
You mean devious as in devia, off the main track?
Do I?
Yes, I think you do. You're the kind of woman who knows that following an erratic course can be exciting.
So can firing a pistol.
Yeah, well, thank heavens people don't shoot tame roosters.
Especially when they've only got one.
Well,
You're not going in there, sir.
Out of my way, woman!
Get your dirty hands off me!
I am going in! Out of my way! Let me in!
So, Mr. Longford has finally turned up a little late to bring Taya home.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. And forgive this.
How do you know she's still here?
I went back to her lodging up in Trondheim and they said she hadn't returned.
Were they surprised to see you?
Surprised that this disheveled creature should come looking for her. Well, if they were, they gave no indication. George isn't up yet.
No, not yet.
When did he get home?
Very late.
What did he tell you about last night?
That it was the usual disgraceful affair of the judges.
Nothing else?
No, I was half asleep.
Oh, Eilert! Oh, Eilert, at last! Give me your hands. What happened to your face? The patient hands are so cold. Is your jacket torn? Eilert, you look very pale. What's happening?
Too late, Taylor. Finish.
Too late? What's too late? That's finished.
I'm finished. I'm washed up.
I will not listen to
When you
that.
heard what happened last night.
I don't care what happened last night, Eilert. Last night is over. We've had these setbacks before, and we've struggled through and triumphed.
I will leave you to alone.
Oh, no, stay, please.
Today is a new day, Eilert. Today will make a fresh beginning.
Taylor, I'm not talking about last night. I'm talking about you and me. We're finished.
Finished. Eilert, but
We mustn't see each other again.
Hedda, tell him to stop.
I don't mean to sound so brutal, but I don't need you anymore. Okay? Our working partnership we had is
You're
over.
upset, Eilert.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. My life is over. I'm never going to write again, that's over too. And so is our relationship. Our working partnership, that is over.
But we're collaborating.
So
Eilert.
what you must do now is
Soulmates.
expel me and all that past from your head completely and begin to assemble a new life for yourself.
Possible.
You're a young woman, you're very competent. Everything is still very possible for you. Go back to Trondheim and your family.
Not there, Eilert. Never there. Oh, I don't believe that's all that left to you, a working partnership. I know it was much, much richer than that. I know it was. Have you any idea what you are doing to me, Eilert? You are my life, Eilert. The only life I've ever had. I don't exist unless I am with you. You do know that, don't you? And I have got to be with you when your new book comes out, Eilert. Our book. Yours and mine. I do have that right because it is our book, Eilert. We are its parents.
We were.
And I have got to witness the happiness on your face and the delights and satisfaction of seeing the others praise you and lay all the honors you've always deserved. Because it'll be a moment of such joy. Yes, of course, a literary event too. Significant and groundbreaking, but for us, Eilert. For you and for me. It will just be so joyous. Just so happy. Just such an intense and pride and celebration. Oh, Eilert, I have got to be there to witness that happiness. And to see the old Eilert Loveborg, the flinching, irresolute, hesitant Eilert Loveborg, to have him exercise forever. You can understand that, can't you?
There isn't going to be a book launch. Taya, there can't be a book.
I don't
There is
understand.
no longer a book. There is no longer a
Or is
book
there
to
a
launch.
book, Eilert? We wrote that book together, and when you finished it, I wrote it out in my own hand.
Well, that manuscript that you wrote in your own hand is torn up.
Torn up.
I've destroyed the manuscript. Torn it up into shreds. That manuscript doesn't exist anymore.
Oh no.
That is.
It's not true, you think?
And you say
I've destroyed my life. Why not my work?
Why would he want to hurt me? It's a lie, isn't it?
I ripped it into 1,000 pieces, and I threw those pieces into the fjord. And they floated for a while, and then sank, like myself.
It's the truth, Hedda. He's telling us the awful truth.
yes.
You've destroyed a life, Eilert. You know that.
I know.
A life that I helped to create.
Yes?
Destroyed our child, Eilert Loveborg. And a part of me will be in mourning for the rest of my days.
Maybe you should
I think I will go home now, Hedda.
back to your lodging.
I have to, once in my lodging. No, I will never go back there again. I have no idea where I am going. I have no idea at all. I think I'll just wander until the earth goes still again.
Aren't you going to take her back to her lodging?
She's better not seen with me.
Can't you see you shattered her?
She'll be all right. Never underestimate Mrs. Elmstead. She is a very resilient woman.
What happened last night that was so irrevocable?
I began all over again last night. Back to the old treadmill. Back to the drinking and the brawling and the whoring. And the curse of it is that I don't have the stomach for it anymore. Even now, as I crave it and find satisfaction in it, it nauseates me, and that can only end in one way, as you know. There was a time when I would spit in the face of the world with such easy defiance. So, in that she certainly succeeded. She fractured my spirit, she broke my courage.
Silly little bitch. And somehow she's altered the destiny of a man. Can't you see you were brutal to her, Eilert?
She had to look at what had happened.
She will be in mourning for the rest of her days.
Oh, for God's sake. For all of a week, maybe.
You have destroyed one thing that she had in her life she thought made her life go here. Is that not cruel?
I will tell you the truth, Hedda. Promise you won't read a word of this to Taya.
What are you talking about?
The manuscript. Promise.
Promise. Promise.
I didn't tear it up into 1,000 pieces and throw the pieces into the fjord. I didn't do that. But I did defile it.
I don't understand.
I sullied it. I contaminated it. I betrayed it.
But you still have it.
Antea said it was like killing our child, but there are other obscene things a father may do to his child that may be just as evil. Suppose a man comes home to the mother of his child in the early hours of the morning, and he says to her, I have been out drinking and brawling and whoring all night long, and I had our child with me in all of those dens. He watched the brawling and the drinking, and he witnessed the whoring. And now our child is lost. I don't know where he is. I don't know what hands he has fallen into, or where those hands are holding him, or what those hands might be doing to him.
It is not a child, Tyler. It's a book. A book.
Tea's soul was in that
Yes, I
book.
understand
That
that.
book was the repository of all her hopes and her aspirations. It was her pure heart that gave that book its shape and quickened it. How can I look into her pure face ever again? I can't, can I?
Where will you go?
That doesn't matter now. Put an end to the whole squalid business.
You mean that?
Yes,
Your mind's made up?
yes.
When?
Soon.
Listen to me. I have a love book. If you do, when you do, do it as beautifully as you can.
Beautifully. You mean with vine leaves in my hair?
No, none of that nonsense now. But beautifully. One beautiful final gesture, the gesture that becomes you. And now you must go. Do not come back here ever again. Goodbye, Irish.
Adieu, Hedda Gabler. Give George Tesman my best.
Wait, a souvenir to take with you.
This is my souvenir.
Don't you recognize it? It was pointed at you once long ago.
I should have used it then.
Maybe you can use it now.
Thank you.
One beautiful final gesture, I will work. Make me that promise. A final gesture that becomes you. This is your child I'm burning, Taya. Anxious Taya with ridiculous curls. I am burning the child you had by him. I am burning your baby, Taya. Yours and I would love Gork's baby.
That is our second intermission. Feel free to stand up and stretch your legs.